I just returned yesterday at, I don't know, 7 o'clock at night after a family gathering at my mother's gravestone. So here I am. It was a wonderful family gathering, but at end of an era. She lived to 100. God bless her. Or as we say in Yiddish, Alva Sholem, may she live in peace. Anyhow, so my name is Jennifer Harris. Most of you know me. I'm the president of America's Hometown Laureates, which is a nonprofit organization that supports poetry and cultural events throughout the Plymouth area. We've been working very closely, brought on a new poet laureate whose name is Miriam O'Neill. She was not able to join us tonight as she's in North Carolina working on a project that she was paid to do research. So we're very excited for her. Those of you who have not met her, I hope that you will in our next endeavor. I also would like to thank the local scene. They have been magnificent with all our programming and video recording, so we appreciate them and salute them for their hard work to make this happen. I'd also like to thank my other board members. Unfortunately, they're off doing other things that they have to do, so I don't have anyone that I can introduce here tonight, but I showed up. How about that? Thank you. So tonight we're going to do a poetry reading, I have an order for the readers. All I'm going to ask you to do is keep track of where your position is, and when you come up to the mic, you introduce yourself with your own name. I am not asking the other poets to call you up next. So I'd like this nice and clean. We're learning how to do this correctly. You walk up to the podium, to the mic. If you have to move the mic so that you can be seen in all your glory, feel free. But at this point, I think I'm going to bring up our first reader, which is Steve Anderson.
Hey, it's great to be here, and the Plymouth Poet Laureate adds so much to this town. My wife and I are about to leave. I'll be traveling. We're going to visit family and friends and spend a few weeks with her sisters. And for those of you in long-term relationships, this is what's called a pre-mistake apology. So it's guaranteed I'll screw something up during the next month, and this poem is intended as an apology before I do it. I assume we all know who Bruce Springsteen is, but the name of the poem is Traveling Companion. Bruce, bard, icon, poet, minstrel of a generation, chronicler of life, love, lust, struggle, and desperation, exposing memories and feelings I did not know I had kept. Generous, gifted, glorious, storyteller and wordsmith, well, except 8 mysteriously misplaced words in Thunder Road. It's as if you were possessed or suffering an acute mental episode. You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're all right. She's to give up all known comforts and ride into the night. What woman responds to such an insipid invitation? It's missing romance, passion, inducement, and supplication. Who wants to travel the great mystery of life with someone who's all right? Not me. For this journey, I want a partner who glows like a meteorite, a woman who recognizes the trip's an opportunity for adventure, intelligent, passionate, caring, righteous, ready for a joint adventure. Some days magnificent, others miserable, in desperate need of tomorrow, knowing she can choose to make existence grand or perpetual sorrow. Found as frequently behind the wheel as on passenger side. In my quest for the promised land, this is who I want by my side. So, thank you. And if you could just remember that for the next couple of weeks, I would desperately appreciate it. The next poem is about my mother, and it's the Cuban Missile Crisis. Those of you who are not old enough to remember the Cuban Missile Crisis really missed an opportunity to sweat. So this is my poem about the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it involves my mom. It's called Cuba. October 1962, 10-year-old, 5th grade, Cronkite, every night, Russian planes, missiles, Cuba. Thermonuclear annihilation, sleepless child, exhausted mother. You're worried about war? She draws bedroom window shades. There, that takes care of it. Of course, the Kennedys took credit. The next poem is, I'm a child of a baby boomer kid, and we used to have Sunday meals. 2 o'clock, family would get together, and there were stories. And there were stories about my uncles. My Uncle Tom, in World War II, my Uncle Tom was in the Navy, and he was at Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. He lived, and he subsequently fought in the Battle of the Coral Sea. My Uncle Joe, my dad's brother, joined the Army Reserve in 1940 to make a few extra dollars. And in 1942, he found himself in a trench on a beach in Port Moresby with 3 lines of barbed wire between him and the high tide mark. Knowing that if the Japanese won the naval battle of the Coral Sea, they'd be coming through that barbed wire in a matter of hours. And my Uncle Ed was a fighter pilot off of aircraft carriers in 1944 and 45. He talked about the randomness of life and death. I wish I'd listened to them more, but I was a teenager and they were old. All 3 of them came home, and they added to the fabric and the fiber of our family, and in Uncle Joe's case, to some of the mischief. Last October, Gail booked us a trip to Japan, and we're going to Hiroshima, and I did not know how I would feel about it. Because I have some difficulty adjusting my sleep schedule, I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning and going for walks, and I took a number of walks in Hiroshima. And this poem is called Early Morning Walk, Hiroshima. Yellow, orange, red sunrise behind, long, deep western shadows ahead. Stillness, serenity, anticipation of unrealized, unintended, unexpected. Crows, cries, careen off canyons of somnolent apartment buildings, drapes drawn, blinds closed. Slender ocean breeze sways delicate white pine branches. Small soprano songbirds clamor, breakfast in 5. Boulevards, avenues, intersections, absent diesel delivery trucks, silent electric commuter buses, endless parade of clean subcompacts stop to make right against oncoming traffic, turn signals activated. Sidewalks await pedestrians, dedicated, determined businessmen, black Oxfords, dark pants, snow-white dress shirts, open-neck collar, emotionless faces, decisive pace, professional women, same expressions, uniform unspoken dress code, haphazard procession of joyful, delighted elementary school students, teal bucket hats for girls, baseball caps boys, backpacks, stuffed animals, lunch boxes, curious crowds of adolescents, colorful school ties hang loose, heavy book bags, quick glances, secret conversations, mosey meander. Hiroshima, before the heat of the day. So, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Elaine Sorrentino. I am part of the Duxbury Poetry Circle. Better? The first piece I'm going to read is about lying by omission. It's called Irish Twins. When folks inquire about my children, I tell them I was 27 when I had my first, 29 when I had my second. This is not the whole story. I failed to share their birthdays are 7 weeks apart, or that my birthday is sandwiched in the middle, because 2 years is a more respectable gap than 13 months and 3 weeks. I omit the part about passion born out of our Red Sox in the '86 World Series, the excitement of witnessing victory after victory, interrupted when Billy Buckner and Mother Nature surprised us both. The second piece is about my vacation preferences. It's called This, Not That. If vacation time is finite, I choose not to squander it on asphalt, seeking sanctuary away from the hand of man. I'll take the airy wail of the loon over the ding-ding-ding of arcade rooms, hammering turnstiles, roller coaster riders shrieking with fear and glee. I prefer the racket of flapping wings on water, where the penguin dance. Back off. I'll take the sun's day-ending game of hide and seek, its splashy light show as it disappears over the Berkshires or behind Old Situate Lighthouse. I welcome the screech of an owl, ripple of a brook, even the boom of thunder. Let me explore creation without the price of admission. Awaken my senses, quiet my mind. Paddle, pedal, or hike, then sit back and marvel without purpose or schedule. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rona Laban. This first one is, well, I've never read in a bar before. I've read in a couple of libraries. And so this is called Existential, and just to warm up and see if I could actually talk. Existential poets, barstool observers, second guessers, misfits, skeptics, true believers, destined to repeat their mistakes, far too busy observing and trying to make some sense of it all. Fatalists, realists, romantics, wanting a grand gesture, but settling for a thoughtful nod. Thanks. I write a lot of, or have written a lot of family poems. I don't know if that's going to be true anymore, or because I'm the last one standing. So anyway, this one is called My Father's Plant Stand. I wonder whose house that table is in now, what corner it's been relegated to. Does it hold the plant as intended? But then it was intended for me. My father so proud, telling the story of how he had acquired it for her, for my mother. I left it there in the apartment. Flying down to get him, bringing back just what could fit in the suitcase, shirts, pants, shorts. I brought him to the apartment one last time. He didn't mention the plant stand or even look back as we left, though he must have known he would never return. Today, walking through the store with the terracotta pot for the one remaining palm someone sent when he died, I saw the small table, black, plain wood, not ornately etched, beautiful, like the one my father had bought for her, for my mother. How badly I wanted that plant stand now. And hopefully this will leave you laughing. Never date a poet. I had an ex tell me, why didn't you let me read this before? Don't fall in love with a poet. She'll entice you, conjure you, cast her spells around you, make you love her beyond reason, but it won't be enough. She won't believe you. Don't date a poet. You will surely end up on a page. Good, bad, and ugly, she'll put you there. Hero or villain, whether you send flowers or forget a birthday, you can't love a poet. Expectations high, self-esteem low. Never date a poet. She'll immortalize you in words and leave you on a page. She'll love you, then she'll lay you bare. She loves words more. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bill Arienti. I only have one creation of mine here tonight, but it needs a little bit of an explanation and a build-up. I was a Quincy firefighter for 32 years, until the day I died, literally. The valve in my heart got stuck in the open position. I went from, hey, how you doing, to being on the ground, not knowing anything. I woke up a few minutes later with injuries to my face, but I hit the ground so hard that it closed the valve and brought me back to life. That's the first part of it. After I went to the Mass General for 3 weeks and got out, I was called about a week and a half later to go again to the Mass General. They wanted to see me in there in a hurry, so I went. The poem will explain why. But one thing that I did other than being a firefighter is I worked for South Shore Hospital in the emergency department, where I would often take people, usually elderly, very sick, and I hate to say it, but I would go to the last ride, whether it be to a nursing home, a hospice, or their home. And in that time, I was able to garner more life experience than ever imaginable. So with that, I'll start my poem. I ask for your patience because I just had cataract surgery and my new glasses haven't come in yet. So I'm having a little bit, but hopefully I'll be able to discern it. With solemn eyes in a downward stare, the words from his mouth were slowly cast. The discomfort he felt sharing this information was evident, no matter how many times he had done so in the past. After many examinations and countless tests, there was no doubt about the conclusion. In my body was a disease that may soon take my life. Of this fact, I should have no illusion. But what came next seemed to astound him. A reply no other cancer patient had ever could relate. When told the cancer I had may be terminal, my response was, well, I guess I'll lose some weight. For what the doctor didn't know was the history of my past, with the many people who shared their outlook of their final days. To their words I listened with absolute attentiveness on how to view life in many different ways. It was from them I learned that the cancer was not always a curse, but has the ability to make a dark horizon bright, to allow one to see the world's most wondrous gifts with the illumination of a completely different light. To better appreciate the flavor of a sumptuous meal with an Italian wine one can truly savor. To laugh with a reckless abandon at things we would once suppress, and spend time with those with whom we favor. To look into the eyes of those you love, and without any hesitation, to tell them how much their love means to you, then embrace them in your arms without reservation. Cancer takes our lives, sometimes with tremendous pain, but sometimes offers us a second chance to live out those things in life we often delayed, and to use it to our own lives' enhance. In life, only this very moment is guaranteed, for no one knows what the next moment may bring. So use each moment wisely and share it with cherished enjoyment, and never pass up the opportunity to laugh, to love, dance, or sing. Thank you very much.
That was beautiful, Bill. My name is Sheila Lynch Bentinen, and I did this last year also. It was lovely. And I explained that I know both the owners, Michelle and Katie, and their kids grew up with my kid. And so I've known them for 20 years, and our kids are now 22. And I have two really silly poems about Uwe Weinbar and one real poem. The first one, Uwe Weinbar Ditty. To help your love along, drink wine while you sing a love song. What could possibly go wrong? And this song is about my daughter when she was 3 on Duxbury Beach, lying to the moon. Sometimes I lied, like during luminescent dusk, beach with a glowing orb full moon. She was a squirmy 3-year-old. She smiled, "Mama, lift me up. I want to touch the moon." So I happily lifted her higher to touch the shiny white ball. "Keep trying, reach higher." I lied, though persistence is a very good attribute in life for a mama to teach. She is 22 now. I still advise, keep trying, keep trying. My heavy baggage, hopefully, will not wear down her own special trip. As she sails through our still wonderful, yet often insanely, bitterly cruel, mysterious, infinite silver light, sparkling, spiraling galaxy. A mama should teach fierce bravery in the face of ridiculous odds, with prudence, in this soul-weary world, even if she is lying to the moon. And this is my next totally silly Uwe wine bar. Uwe wine bar is 5 tomorrow. It is now world-renowned. Uwe, too, will be in Mashpee soon. With each wine you sip, you fund one of Katie's exotic trips. And with each flatbread you bite, you fund Michelle's daughter's theater nights. So raise a glass for Katie and Michelle. Without wine and friends, life just might be hell. But the most important question, what rhymes with Uwe besides loofah? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Holgerson, and before I read the 2 poems I selected for tonight, could we just have a round of applause for Jennifer Harris and the other... I'm hoping that next year we'll be here again for the 3rd annual Plymouth Poetry Festival. I just wanted to say briefly how I picked these 2 poems. They're very short love poems. And I've been the member of a writers group now for almost a year. Our first anniversary will actually be next month. And last night we had our June meeting, and one of the members said to me that they had been looking over my first collection of poetry that was published slightly more than a decade ago, Broken Borders. And they noticed that there were a number of love poems in the collection. And the way that that was said to me, it either meant that they were surprised I'd been able to write so many love poems, or that I had written any at all. So there's just a little bit of background. Please keep in mind, both of these poems were written when the person standing before you right now was in his mid-20s. Just yesterday. Right? This first poem is a poem that I wrote when I was an exchange student at the University of London in England. And I was living in a youth hostel, which was actually the Catholic chaplaincy attached to the University of London. It was divided in half, girls on one side, boys on the other side, or I should really say young men and young women. But we shared breakfasts, we shared dinners, we socialized quite a bit, probably a lot more than the priests and the chaplaincy were aware of. But there was one girl whose name was Sarah McKeon, And Sarah was very popular. So in an effort to try to gain an edge over the competition, I would stop on my way back from class at a vendor on the street who was selling flowers. And I would bring a bouquet of flowers on occasion and give them to her that night or perhaps the next morning at breakfast. So I wrote this poem for her, but there's really two things, or one thing you need to know, and that is I never gave her the poem, and as far as I know, she's never seen it. I put it inside a book of poems that she said she read on occasion, hoping that she would find it, but I have no idea if she's ever read it. So you are all my surrogate Sarahs for this evening, and I dedicate it to all the ladies here in the Uva Wine Bar. Bouquet of Flowers. This poem is my last bouquet of flowers for you. If you read this late at night, remember only certain jukebox records and soft moments of conversational touch. If you read this in daylight, remember words of luck on spring mornings and smiles of confession over breakfast. When I am no longer here beside you, read this poem. Remember your place in my life. That was the spring of 1970. I'm going to go back a little bit in time to the summer of 1969, when I was on my way back to college in the end of August of 1969. I had, I guess, to use an old school term, a summer romance with a young lady from June through August, knowing that I probably would never see her again. Once I went away to school and she went her way. I was going to the university, which was 1,000 miles from where I was living at the time.
What about Sarah?
Sarah stayed in London. She didn't follow me home.
I never read that poem.
So I knew I wasn't probably going to see this young lady whose name was Anne. And again, so I wrote this poem for her, and I did give it to her, and I know she did read it. She heard me read it to her. But more than that, I guess there's really not too much to say. And I only do the backstories because we have a member of the audience, and I won't point him out. I don't want to embarrass him, but he always wants to know the genesis of the poems he hears people read. So I tried to satisfy his curiosity this evening. This is called Lament. Before I left, I meant to trace the profile of your face with my finger, brush your curtain hair with a seashell comb, the way atavistic artists prepare portraits, the way the blind see to remember. Thank you.
How about if I scooch this way? Good evening. Can everybody hear me all right? Okay, very good. I want to keep that. Okay, perfect. Hi, my name's Sarah, Sarah Jane Mulvey. I am visiting you all from New Bedford, where I am serving, thank you, where I am serving as New Bedford's Poet Laureate. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So happy to be here with you all tonight. Congratulations on the second annual Plymouth Poetry Festival. It's a beautiful event. And I'm going to follow suit with a bar poem, but first I wanted to read you another one that's close to my heart. This one is titled Hawthorne. I have known your name in many lifetimes, and I'll rediscover it in many more. We share in the harmony of living things, grow and age and come to be. We've seen the passing of years, the waxing and waning, bitter cold and scorching heat. We are ageless, returning season after season to now, to here, together. I find your likeness in midsummer hydrangea, riotously bright and radiantly blooming. I cannot help but smile at them. I see you clearly in amber, glowing with an ancient knowledge turned into something beautiful that I can hold in my hands. I find you in the trees, steadfast and sprawling. You will stretch through hurricane and lightning strike, strong and rejuvenating. I sense you in the stars, primordial fire burning across the ages to find me here and now. And how fortunate we are that this time we returned as flesh, blood and bone and lust, words and dance and laughter. I pray that you will return to the trees and I to the birds, so I may make my home in you, season after season, here, now, together. Thank you much. And in honor of the night and our beautiful location, this one's about a bar in my hometown down in New Bedford. So if you're not familiar, we host an event at the Whaling Museum called the Moby Dick Readathon. And it is exactly what you think it is. It is a 28-hour marathon of reading Moby Dick from beginning to end in the beautiful Whaling Museum. Yeah, it's great fun. It's the first weekend of January if you ever want to come down, venture down 95 and come hang out with us. But I was chosen as a reader this past year at the 10 o'clock hour. So my watch started at 10. So I went out to get dinner beforehand, and this poem came out of that experience. So enjoy. It's called The Shoal. It was a cold Saturday night in January, threatening snow or sleet or some terrible combination of the two. Dubious looking, nay, a dark and dismal night, bitingly cold and cheerless. I forgot to mention, I quote our friend Herman Melville in this, so if you hear me talking a little differently, it's actually Herman. I pulled my overcoat tighter around my chest, stepped carefully around broken slate and upturned cobblestone. I am making a straight wake for the whale's mouth, the bar. Fighting through the wind, I step over the threshold. Dimly lit, busy, noisy, warm, and inviting. I find an empty seat and resolve to spend the rest of the evening as a looker-on. Worlds converging at the edge of the bar top, I sit in the middle, fixed between old men visiting from I don't know where and a pair of women with similar laughs. Feeling history steep into my imagination, I wonder, is this where chapters 2 through 5 play out? Ishmael and Queequeg passing the pipe, snuggling upstairs in their shared twin bed, the boisterous sailors from Labrador with icicles in their beards, telling tales of their latest adventures. I share a bit of gossip and a laugh with the young woman beside me. I ask her how old she is, and I tell her to dump that person before she turns 25. The older woman with her leans forward and fixes me in her stare. She's said the same thing a dozen times, but who listens to their mother? I sip my drink slowly and I realize I am now that stranger who reiterates your mother's good advice one random night in a darkened barroom, caught somewhere between what is familiar and what is unknown. And although I know not all that may be coming, but be it what it will, I'll go to it laughing. Here in the city of my birth, New Bedford, the dearest place to live, that only shows its true colors in the light of a bright, cold and clear Sunday morning. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Everyone hear me okay? Thank you, Jennifer, for organizing us. You know, it must be a little like herding cats to organize poets. I'm going to read just one poem. This is a piece of terza rima, so you'll hear interlocking rhymes all the way through. And it's a true story. It's called The Song of the Spanish Tenor on My Car Radio. I understand a few words here and there. Mi corazón, my heart, and nuevo, new. But I don't know, and I'm not sure I care, if he's found new love that he hopes is true, or if a broken heart means he must learn to move on. If the music gives a clue, it isn't clear. The soaring tune may burn with passion or regret. Guitar strings dance in joy or agitation, and that turn from minor key to major might advance the case for more than one interpretation. But all that matters is that by some chance, I've tuned in to a Spanish-speaking station and hear this serenade just as the road on my way home achieves an elevation from which I see the ocean. Whether ode or elegy, the distant song sounds just as close and clear as water that has flowed to this familiar shore. Lament or lust, the tenor's half-wise, half-naive inflection resets my jaded pulse, engenders trust in beauty, and embraces the connection between my own heart and this blue-green sea, as if he means to sing of my affection for what I see from here, and earnestly advise contentment. And though he may sing from arid Spanish highlands, we agree on something fragile as a seagull's wing and deep as oceans. I'm driving alone, but both he and the sea are murmuring nearby in languages mostly unknown to me. Their singing lifts mi corazón. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Chris Toto Zarumba, and thank you for having me. So I do have a couple of bar poems and then my favorite. Well, first of all, anybody have a birthday? We all do, I know that. But I didn't know if you have one coming up. But okay, well, here's a birthday cheer for you. We'll raise a glass, we'll raise them high. You'll tell your age, but maybe lie. The next drink will be tall and neat. Soon you'll have to grab your seat. Let the spirits play tonight with music, cake, and candlelight to celebrate mark one more year. Here's to you, a birthday cheer. And this is some advice my mother gave me. It's called I Prefer Whiskey. Beware of men who drink the brew, my mother said to me. They'll always want too much from you. You just wait and see. But men who drink of the vine, they're romantic and like to play. They savor food and know their wine, a fine Chianti, Merlot, or Rosé. I asked the next man on a date, do you drink wine or prefer a beer? He replied, I'd rather a good whiskey straight. Beer makes me belch, and the wine I fear. Fear the wine, how can that be? It's romantic, dry, and sometimes sweet. Yes, said my date, I do agree, but somewhere squished it with their feet. And some of you have heard this one before, but it's my fave. It's called Cleaning My Pipes. He came to clean my pipes today, a toolbox in his hand. I opened my front door to him, a very good-looking man. He followed me to my bedroom. The pipes were beyond that door. He hung his hat upon the hook. He laid his tools upon my floor. I asked if I could watch him work or if he preferred I look away. He smiled, a bad boy smile, and told me I could stay. He began to unscrew the first pipe, his hands so big and strong. A bead of sweat rolled down my face. He asked if something was wrong. Leaning over above the tub, drawn up, down upon his knees, he asked if I could hold his wrench so he could get a tighter squeeze. His arm, it rubbed against my thigh as I held the wrench so tight. Then the faucet let out a boom. Water gushed out with all its might. We laughed to ease the tension as we stood there dripping wet. I handed him a towel, but he had not finished yet. He cleaned my pipes, packed up his tools, and said that was quite an afternoon, and that he'd be back another day to clean my other pipes real soon.
Hi, team. This is not a poem about pipes. Okay. You can write your own, I'm sure. Actually, on Memorial Day, I often think of my cousin, David Prost, who's passed. He was a war veteran. And I've read this poem before, only once, but I felt like I wanted to honor him this year and read it again. It's a prose poem, and it's in 4 parts. It does involve my Jewish heritage, so you will hear some Hebrew or Yiddish words, which I think most of you are familiar with by now because I brought a dictionary to explain them all last time. But I think the poem, when I read it yesterday, really is a message he's giving to us about war. The title, At the Unveiling of a Jewish War Veteran. 1. The Unveiling. It is 100 degrees in the shade. Family gathers in shorts and sandals to pay their respects. No one wears black. A niece pulls up on a red Harley. Her entrance startles everyone. Women in sun hats move in circles and kibitz about the old days. Their foreheads bead with schwitz. Men walk the perimeter, arms folded behind their backs. The rabbi arrives, wearing a tallis and silk yarmulke. We walk in single file to the sun-baked grave. 2. The veteran's sister. I loved my brother. He was such a hoot. Taught himself how to play piano. Graduated college with an aeronautical engineering degree, became a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy, piloted planes. He loved the sky. Up there he could bear his soul, dress it with wings. Then came Vietnam, the killing. His lifetime holed up in a psych ward. I wanted more for him. I miss him so much. The mourner's Kaddish begins. Yiskadal ve'yiskadash shemei rabbah. 3. The women kibitz about the veteran. I'm telling you, he was Hollywood handsome, runner-up to Tony Curtis. A real looker in that uniform, just gorgeous. And such a mensch. So much potential he had. We talked once, maybe twice. Hard to remember. His whole life ahead of him. Marriage, children, a career. Did you ever hear him on piano? A sound so beautiful, it made you quell. A boy like him, sensitive, thoughtful, nothing left but the Michigas. 4. The final entry from the Veterans Journal read by the niece. Thou shalt never drop napalm over villages of Viet Cong. Thou shalt never call those different from myself hurtful names. Thou shalt never put females and children in harm's way. Thou shalt never trust leaders who forsake their veterans. Thou shalt never follow any god into battle to kill others. Thou shalt never use firebombs to feign peace. Thou shalt never fly. Thou shalt never fly. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Peg Ryan, and this is my first open mic. And after listening to the other poems, I feel like a third grader sitting amidst university students. My first poem is called The Journey. The journey is long and it may take years. Although very worthwhile, it is not without tears. It may be costly, or with luck may be free. To enter this magical place, you will see. The path is windy and filled with flowers, but then again, there will be days with showers. You must begin with an open mind, follow the path, and don't look behind. For the magic you miss in the blink of an eye cannot be recaptured, although you may try. The wonder is there, just a step away, in a newborn babe or a child at play. I have traveled this path for a very long while. How the wonder and magic have made me smile. The warmth of the sun has enveloped my soul. When I look at the stars, I see pieces of gold. I have been lured by the beauty of the deep blue sea, and the wonder of it all has cast a spell on me. You may look at my path in a different way, and you may not relate to what I feel or say. Where your path leads is for you to decide. Should you choose my path, I will be by your side, to walk with you and to show that I care. The journey is worthwhile if there's someone to share. How fast can I read? The next one is Fences, and it is from my own experience. There were no fences on my street. We ran with abandon, all with bare feet. Our houses were neat and all in a row, and there were so many yards where we could go. We played hide and seek and drank make-believe tea. There was nowhere else we wanted to be. But then we grew older and spread our wings and surrendered to a world of other things. I moved to a neighborhood quite different from mine, where the Kellys, the Walshes, and the Rileys intertwined. My two boys played with friends who lived on the street. My life as I saw it was happy and complete. Then one summer day, a new family moved to town, and the change in the neighborhood was profound. A fence had been raised, though not a visible one, and the new family of four realized the shun. The Sunés were not welcome in this Irish hood. They were from Cuba and so misunderstood. I invited the family to dinner one night and soon discovered the pain of their plight. For I was now moved to the opposite end of the invisible fence that I could not mend. And I was reminded of the days of innocence and joy, of running barefoot through the grass and sharing a toy. I just have one. This is a happy one. I am here with the boss of our crowd. We have a writers group in Pine Hills, and my friend Johnny is the leader. And she has taught me an awful lot. But the story I'm telling you is my husband died years ago, left me with two little boys, a house, a dog, and a boat. And the dog died, the kids moved on, I kept the boat for 45 years. So I just sold it a short while ago. This is Oh Captain, My Captain. I heard something say and it is about an inanimate object that we had to write about. This inanimate object is my boat. I heard once someone saying that spring is here, And as they took off my cover, it was perfectly clear that the quiet of winter under a bucket of snow will soon give way to voices as the spring winds blow. My people have arrived and in work clothes are dressed. They have only one short time to make me look my best. My captain has been with me for a very long time, and she treats me gently while fastening my line. Her grandson has learned to take care of my parts. Now he always takes credit when my old engine starts. I'm counting the days before I slip into the sea, sailing to our summer home, my 2 captains and me. Maybe I moved to 4th grade.
Hello, everyone here and there. It's so beautiful to be here. Thank you for everyone and everything that has brought this event together. Sharing our voices is such a gift, and so I'm really grateful to be here. So I have 2 poems. One is short and light, and one is long and heavy. So, am I okay? Do I, mic-wise? Okay. Just a little ease, a little breeze. You took me there. I went with ease. I'm building up, buttercup. Don't let me down when time is up. I need a place to call my home, a warm one with land to roam. Come be with me in the trees. Come be with me, baby, please. All right. So I hope I get the momentum going. I think I've become somewhat known as a ridiculous rhymer. And this poem starts with the word ridiculous. It's called Timing. Ridiculous meticulous is the new syllabus. A squiggle, a giggle, a tiny toe wriggle. Best make it fast, surrender your giggle. Tight, tight and loose, shake your caboose. Nonsense flattened into a truce. You want it in line, you want to keep time, you want the words to fit into your mind. The truth is quite wary, so here's a new theory. What you think is real is only a query. If your questions are bad, borrowed and mad, you'll never, oh never, find out that you've been had. So let it go loose, let it go long. You are here now to learn a new song. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-do, deeper and deeper and deeper we go. Now to enter a land where night is quite long, a happy town sings a dark little song. We fill the bank every day, we stack the checks, we get our pay. We feast on the rewards, while people die on ancient swords. It's a little problem to say the least, that our success ends all peace, that our fine house killed your friends, that our good luck means yours ends. But we didn't make the bloody sand. It was another father's dirty hand. So what can be done anyhow? Our hands are tied. Magic. Wow. What could be done anyway? We worked for this humble pay. We worked for this mowed facade. We worked for this lightning rod. We worked for this massive feast. We worked to kill endangered beasts. We worked for this power grab. We worked for this earthen jab. We worked for this honey pot. We worked until time forgot. We worked until the flowers grew. We worked to have more than you. We worked for your endless task. We worked for no questions asked. We worked to have complete control. We worked and worked, you stupid fool. We worked to blind your sin. We worked to know you'll never win. We worked so hard to have it all and hold it tight until we fall. This little town will never say, class dismissed for today. It holds you in, it holds you close. It is your dream, it is your host. So wriggle free and keep in mind the best questions are always rhymed. Who is it you truly are? An earthen fool, a hungry star? Who do you want to be? Lost in time or truly free? And since the best things come in 3, can you feel? Will you see?
Hi, my name is Johnny Garska, and most of the poems I write are for and about my family or things that we've been through. The first I call It's a Good Thing. It's a good thing fathers can't vote for homecoming queen, because every daughter would have a crown, would carry the roses, would wear the white gown. It's a good thing fathers can't vote. It's a good thing mothers can't vote for the captains of teams, because every son would win by a lot, would be a great athlete, could make every shot. It's a good thing mothers can't vote. It's too bad we can't shelter our children from life's disappointment and pain. It's too bad we can't shoulder their burdens or kiss their hurts better again. It's too bad they can't learn life like spelling by rote. And it's too bad we parents can't help them or vote. Thank you. Okay, now I only have 14 more. Yes. Sorry. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'll go with this, and then when you yell at me, I'll stop, okay? Our papa came to live with us. We were empty nesters, and we invited him. And he said, I'll come under 2 conditions. And I'm thinking, Sparky, you're going to come live with me, and you're going to give me conditions? His first was, I'm going to make more work for you, so I want to pay for a cleaning lady every 2 weeks. And I thought, boy, he drives a hard bargain. The second condition was that he was going to pay for a massage for me once a month, just because he thinks I would like that. Okay, this is the papa. Papa's chair. It sits in my pretty great room, Papa's ugly red corduroy chair. And many are the times I sigh when I see it crouching there. My grandkids see it differently, though. They look on its tiredness with pride. For when Papa says the magic word, the chair takes them each for a ride. One day when Jessie was visiting, she felt out of sorts and sad. Her mama said, go sit with Papa, and that's just what she did. She clambered up upon his lap, and the chair took the 2 of them back. Then they both watched Dora the Explorer, and they both took a little nap. I know I'm being a stinker, I whispered to God in prayer. For beneath all of my complaining, I really do care. And I wonder when Papa has gone, how long will his special chair stay? I'm thinking probably half an hour before I throw that sucker away. Okay, and I have one more. Is that okay? I can't find where I put my third one. Ta-da! Too bad, guys, I have found it. This is called Empty Nest. And I wrote it for my husband. Just so you know, I used to talk about us having a mixed marriage because I'm one of 10 and my husband's an only child. But I realized later on that a real mixed marriage is a writer and an accountant. Okay. It's not so bad, this empty nest, just you and me again. We'll have more time, just you and me, to be lovers instead of just friends. Sometimes I didn't listen. The kids' needs got in the way. Sometimes I was too tired to love. You think you had a bad day? But things will be different now. It's not so bad, this empty nest, just you and me again. We'll do things together, just you and me, antiquing and tennis and zen. I'll go to the places you go, sit in on a card game or 2. You can come to my Pilates class, have your hair frosted too. Boy, things will be different now. It's driving me nuts, this empty nest, just you and me again. I have no space, you're always here, and I can't stand your friends. We've grown into different people. Our interests aren't always the same. Our minds, horizons, and bodies have changed. This isn't some newlywed game. And things are different now. Now I love you, truly love you, as only maturity can. It's more than your eyes, the sound of your voice, your gentle caressing hand. I love you as a father. I love you as a son. I love you, my husband, my lover. We've worlds of experience yet to explore, so many things to discover. And things are different now. Yes, things are different now. Boy, things are different now. There we go.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Birch. I have 2 poems for you. And I'll start by saying I love Plymouth festivals, so thank you, Jennifer. One of the festivals that I love is the Herring Run Festival. It happened 2 months ago. I actually missed it this year, but you know, it's when the fish swim up the river, and Last year, I went and learned a lot about eels from some poor guy who works for the town, and I kept asking questions, and it inspired this poem. It's called Evanesce. A pilgrim pulled by something beyond her understanding, the eel leaves the Atlantic as if she must, the town brook pouring out and pulling her in. Her tiny glass body strengthens as she pushes upstream, darkens as she dares, deeper against the current, seeking something undefined and up waterfalls, limbless bending around stones and over land, across roads, until she finds herself held in the smooth, saltless embrace of pond water, someplace she deems home. Fed on fish and frogs, hidden from hawks, contented in shadows and the soft dark of decomposing leaves, she grows, inches to feet, through seasons, droughts, and meteor showers, long and green, long and green, long and green. Then one day, awakened by a spring stream's whisper or secrets passed through underwater sunlight, she returns through silt and sand, down the brook and back to the bay, her unconscious chasing its salty beginnings, a mysterious longing fulfilled. Aged silver by her journey, she brings life in the same sea from where she came, so that her children may be swept away by the same ocean currents of chance that stole her years ago and carried far from warm waters. Their journeys will differ from hers, but each will be free of nostalgia, plans, or precedent, each only knowing arrival, distance unbending horizon's true curve. She stares at their silhouettes on the surface, her baby's glass bodies, light of the world, shining through them and holding her gaze as it fades, her tired torso sinking beneath a blanket of seaweed, knowing someday, when they are long and green, her children, imprinted with invisible maps back to Sargasso, will return to sleep beside her in a sea surrounded by sea. Thank you. Now, much shorter one. This is called Seeking Restoration along Route 3A. Stripped of shingles outside and plaster inside, the home becomes a square stack of aged planks, balanced street side, the thin edges of fragile lives. Centuries old hands put these planks in place. They held steady, pulled back, embedded wrought iron nails, raised aletheia. The builder's bones, now bare, lay buried beyond the edges of knowing, with no one left for remembering. The creation, now bare, readies for rebirth, wood willing to withstand another lifetime with or without us. I walk these historic streets encased in crust of tears and ocean. I notice rotations of renovations and wish to learn the patience of prophets, their faith in resurrection. Instead, I worry what color to paint the walls and forget the swift swing required to secure my nails, the rot slowly spreading beneath my layers. Thank you.
Well, hello. My name is Mark Walsh, and I've just been told I'm the closer. So You got that to look for. Unless Miriam is here somewhere and comes out of the wall. So I'm going to read two poems. This first poem is, this is a poem about things that freeze my blood, and it's called You Crossed This Bridge for the One Down the Road, and it's dedicated to my friend Ken Lasordo, 1961 to 2015. He was a friend of mine from college, UMass Dartmouth, and this is the only poem I have that has a Plymouth reference in it, and the reference is right across the street at the old Sam Diego's, where Ken and I used to meet. You crossed this bridge for the one down the road. I'm on speaking terms with bridges, but the conversations are terse. Behind the wheel, a bridge boils my panic, burns together two unpleasant parts of life, height and no viable exit. To be on a bridge is to be locked into the starkness of a one-way route. Fear invades. I plead with my irrational self not to make the terror of losing control and bursting through the guardrail a real thing. In time, and with help, I have assembled defenses, casual movements, left hand firmly on the wheel, while the right moves from the wheel to the shift, and the shift to the wheel, showing gurgling anxiety, a ripple of self-control. Singing helps. Found lyrics a distraction. So is conversation with my rider, who I remind myself is my charge to deliver safely home, bigger life providing bigger focus. Alone, however, I am left to confront a steel and concrete behemoth looming over the horizon. What then? Years ago, a friend put a stop to his days, and I needed to drive to Falmouth to accept and to say goodbye. My anxiety pregame nearly evaporated. The image of the Sagamore dwindled in comparison to the size of my loss, the stern emptiness my questions could not answer. The trip was accountability, penance, apology owed for missed calls, canceled plans, trash can of dropped balls. The creeping anger you shouldn't feel but do never resolves and never fades. He was vital. He worked with people who had lost themselves, worked to pull them out of darkness so he could forget his, a darkness he hid so well that it took 2 hours from the news of his death for me to wake up to the cause of his. The emptiness that forced me to consider all I didn't know. Then, around the bend of Route 3, the bridge appeared like some bog beast that chomped spear danes for sport. Fear arrived the way a nurse appears at the doorway, inviting you into the exam room for the diagnosis. Alone, locked in, car tilted toward the crest of the Sagamore, nearly wiped clear, a weirdness arrived. And I said aloud, "Peace, little friend. Thank you for your care. But I'm going to say goodbye to Ken, and I need to pick up his slack." The hot panic simmered, cooled, stopped. Today, when bridges need to be crossed, they're crossed for Ken, for the bridges he should be riding on and off the Cape, as he should be racing triathlons and playing his ukulele, and meeting me in Plymouth for respectable Tex-Mex. You cross this bridge for the one further down the road, for the bridges you can't see yet, making it a thing you do, like falling asleep or waking up with the alarm. The depth of air under vaulted steel is not for you, is never for you, because you have another bridge to cross. Thank you. Admittedly, that was a little dark, so I'm going to end on an up note. This is a poem called Getting Outside. Getting outside. It's impossible to look at a field of trees and find stillness. Air rustles drive leaves or thrusts a bough along the length of a trunk. Holding the forest canopy in view, movement finds its way to you in the distant sway of limbs separating to reveal glimpses of bright, cloudy sky. It's easier to watch than it is to forget. When the blues hit, open all doors and windows in your house. Listen for the breeze and let it invite you to where the garden needs weeding or birds need counting. Name the birds you count. Learn a sparrow from a chickadee, from a woodpecker. Relax the eye along the landscape until they show themselves in quick hops and darting pecks. Take in what is in front of you, careful not to miss what needs to be seen. Accomplish small tasks that provide weird worth. The least amount of action can flatten the greatest heap of anxiety. Where the world is broken is where the sparrow endures. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you all. I personally would like to thank you for this beautiful event. There were so many poems that actually touched on conversations I just had with my own family, the neighborhood, the veteran at the cemetery, the bridge. I always wonder about, should I be scared crossing the Sagamore Bridge? And Mark, I think you brought that point. And also New Bedford. I made everyone read Moby Dick when I was the library director at Plymouth Public Library, so I love the New Bedford Whaling Museum. So I think tonight's event was fabulous. Thank you all. And we have one more event. We have one more event on Thursday at Inky Hands. I'm pointing that way. Inky Hands Print Screen Gallery. And I hope to see you there. We will have some poetry that has been inspired by some prints, so ekphrastic poetry. I can say it in my head, but I can't say it out loud. As well as some other of our fellow poets will be reading. Thank you all so much.